What happened to old-fashioned picnics? Nowadays, you go to parks and you think you'll be seeing kids running around, playing, having fun. But when you get there, you see overweight kids sitting at park benches with bags of fast food. The claim here is the increase of processed food is a significant cause of childhood obesity. A little background that Stephen Mintz said was, before the Civil War, there were 4 major food traditions in the United States. There was a New England tradition, a Southern tradition, a Quakerism influence, and backcountry influence. With these traditions and influences, they had low-season foods, and they boiled their foods, which is significantly healthier. He also stated that one of the first major forces of dietary change came from German immigrants. When they came to America, they brought foods such as coleslaw, hot dogs, hamburgers, and donuts. So when you look at those traditions and influences from being low-seasoned and healthier, they brought more processed foods, and they brought foods that were saturated with trans fats and cooked in grease and covered with sugar. With that, the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey concluded between 1971 and 2008, the percentage of obesity in young children was from 5% to 10.4%. Shannon Marks stated that the half-century-long rising obesity numbers in kids can be attributed to passing down habits from parent to child. To back that up, 18% of kids from 12 to 19 are obese, 20% of kids 6 to 11 are obese, 10% of kids 2 to 5 are obese, and 34.1% of adults are obese. What is that saying about our country? With these numbers being shockingly high, a few reasons are: 1, the processed foods in schools, 2, the processed foods in fast food restaurants, and 3, being your body cannot properly metabolize processed foods. With the first claim being processed foods in schools, it's financially easier to buy in bulk and have meals for the week or let's say a month. And it's easier to serve in quantity. And let's face it, every kid has to go to school, so they're being surrounded by this food no matter what. At Hillsborough Junior High School, they did a research on them of their entree meals within a month. 8 meals had a significant amount of ground beef in them. 9 of those meals were heat and serve meals, and 5 meals were made with breaded chicken. Natalie Morris states that entree options comes down to how to most easily meet nutrition guides and costs. How is that looking out for our kids? That leads us to our second claim, being processed foods in fast food restaurants. Fast food restaurants, you can find them on every corner. They're convenient, and let's face it, they're cheap. Dr. Karen stated fast food contains more calories. With the higher calories, it all adds up. Fast foods contain more unhealthy fats, and they are high in sodium. So, hypothetically speaking, if somebody has to consume 2,500 calories a day, let's say they go have dinner at a McDonald's, for instance. A hamburger can have 800 calories, and then of course you want fries, which can have 200 calories, and then of course you have to have an extra large soda, which can be another 200, 300 calories. So in the end, that's a significant amount of calories for your day, not including what you have eaten already throughout the day. A McDonald's Angus bacon and cheeseburger has 2,070 milligrams of sodium. A KFC Double Down sandwich has 1,880 milligrams of sodium. The majority of fast foods fill up your necessary nutrients and calories needed, but they fill it up with bad things. And on average, a human should consume 120 1,200 milligrams of sodium a day. So by having a McDonald's Angus bacon and cheeseburger, you're already a little less than double that amount. Our third claim is your body cannot properly metabolize processed foods. Young Women's Health states that fast food is high in sodium, saturated fats, trans fats, and cholesterol. This can lead to high blood pressure, heart disease, and obesity. The fats that you consume within these meals lead up to plaque buildup, and with a lack of exercise in the United States, you're not properly getting rid of these fats and burning these calories. To conclude this argument, processed food is a cause of childhood obesity, and it is, in general, not good for anybody. Kids seem to not be able to get away from processed foods, from having foods around every corner and being served at their meals at school. There's a shopping center by my house, and on a strip of about 5 buildings, there's a McDonald's, Taco Bell, and the Chinese food. So unfortunately, children have taken a significant liking to such harmful foods.
All right, Shannon, I thought the rhetorical question and visualization that you had at the beginning was a good way to get started. You do clearly state your claim. The one thing about it that I think is a little problematic, I don't know that there's a lot of dubiousness about some of the arguments concerning processed foods contributing to this, or that people are consuming fast foods and that contributes to it. So I'm still not sure that there's a huge dispute on this. You are pointing to the schools and the fast food places, and I think that that's okay to give us let's face it, you're making a cause-effect claim, and you're pointing to the cause. But it seems a little strange in the introduction of your material that you say that it's really the parents passing these behaviors down to their children that produces this and the demand for the processing. So if that's what the kids learn and that's what the schools are simply meeting there, I'm not exactly sure how it is that school's responsibility. I think there's maybe a good argument that you could say that the kids would get a healthier meal if schools stopped providing food. That might be a good way of maybe making that particular point. Nobody doubts that fast food is bad for you. I do have a question, though, concerning, and I'm not asking for an answer, I'm just presenting it as a question. You've got a large section where you talk about sodium, and you've got some good statistics on it, but I didn't hear an explanation about how the sodium is related to obesity, which is the main proposition that you've got. That it's not particularly healthy or good for you to have the high amounts of sodium might be true, but the way it's connected to the obesity issue needs to be explained and clarified a lot more. This may all sound very critical, but the truth of the matter is you did a lot of things that were very effective. You had a lot of evidence in the argument. You're very consistent about citing the sources of that information. There was plenty of testimony that explained some of the ideas and concepts. There were a couple of places where there's information that's being presented. I'm sure you have a source for it that I didn't get. All that historical information, for instance, would have been one of those places where there was a little bit of problem. I'm not sure that in the end all that historical information is that useful to you in building your argument. It's nice background, but it needed to be a lot shorter. It felt like that took up the first third to half of your speech, and you don't really get to the three claims that you are making until well into the presentation, and I think it needs to go a little bit quicker. You did a good job speaking to the audience for the most part. Occasionally things sounded a little bit mechanical in the way you're reading it, but I thought that you looked at us for the most part. There was pretty good variety in your voice. Thank you.